Here's a case where the buyer forfeited a $200,000 standby fee for failing to financially qualify to complete the deal. Had there not been a standby fee, the hopeful seller would have lost tens of thousands of dollars paid to professional advisors, not to mention the wasted time working a deal that was destined to abort. Here's a spoiler alert. The deal was resuscitated. You'll hear about the poseurs worldwide being coached by charlatans, showing searchers how to fake their financial capability to buy companies. I'm Ted Leverette, broadcasting from partneroncall.com. I'm the original business buyer advocate. For more than 30 years, I've been helping people find and buy the right businesses the right way, and then helping them grow their company using mergers and acquisitions. Along the way, I've interacted with and learned from some of the best deal makers worldwide. You're going to hear Kelvin Hughes of Paladin Capital Advisors talk to us about a good deal gone bad and resuscitated. Okay, Kel.
Yeah, I'd love to share one more. This is a company. I was on the sell side. The deal took about 2.5 years to get done, believe it or not. Very complicated company with complex business model and many moving parts. It took 2.5 years, partly because we spent the first year getting it ready, and there were some very, very significant improvements that were possible. So it was time well justified, but the balance still took 1.5 years, which is quite long. Many deals will take between 6 and 8 months, depending, from front to start, assuming that you're doing some prep and due diligence at the front end. So anyway, we got the company ready. We took it out to market, and we did eventually find some very good buyers, at least it appeared that way. And they were very knowledgeable about the industry, very experienced, had presented themselves with the full financial capability to do this deal. Now, as any buy and sell deal maker knows, you have to qualify counterparty. And on the sell side, you've got to know that the buyers have not only the management wherewithal and the industry knowledge typically, but also the financial wherewithal. You don't want to get in, to a deal, you don't want to go through extensive due diligence, start hiring professionals, get into an exclusive relationship and a letter of intent without the knowledge that they have the ability to do the deal. So in this case, we had asked for that verification, which most often occurs using bank information and for eyes only viewing where the money's coming from. In this case, they felt that isn't what they wanted to provide, but in fact that they would have their accountant prepare a letter attesting to the fact that they had the wherewithal to pay these many millions of dollars. So under the circumstances, given the industry knowledge, the management capabilities, the accountant's letter, which did say they had the ability and the wherewithal to be able to pay for this from a very reputable accounting firm, not one that you would not hear of, but one that actually you might recognize. And we accepted that. Then it went through a very long, protracted period of due diligence after signing the exclusive letter of intent. It actually took 6 months because there was, again, as I said, many, many moving parts. A great deal of money was spent on professional fees, both for tax lawyers, securities lawyers, and other advisory professionals, to the tune of many, many tens of thousands of dollars. So you can picture how much those professional fees could run up. However, in this case, because we were being very, very careful, we had asked for a standby fee of $200,000, $200,000, not $20,000, just in case, because we were spending a lot and this was taking quite a long time. And when push came to shove, after that period of time, the deal fell apart because they didn't have the money to buy it, which allowed us to take that $200,000 in standby fee, which is rare, but there are circumstances where it is necessary. Otherwise, our sellers would have been out of pocket a great deal of money, which actually ran up into that dollar figure. The conclusion on the story was that some months later, we actually re-engaged with that same group that had the industry and management experience. And we went through the same rigor of saying, do you have the money? And they found new financial backers that were able to evidence it with hard evidence that they had the money. And about 6 months later, the deal did get done. and everybody was happy and went on to bigger, better things. This particular lesson is that it is just an accepted practice by professionals that it is normal and usual to ask the buyer to evidence their financial wherewithal in a manner that is appropriate and suitable, which is not to say that you couldn't rely on accountants, but you necessarily can't always. And if you can get better evidence, I would encourage it, especially where there's a lot at stake.
Calvin, what would be the hard evidence that is acceptable?
I've had buyers come to me with folders with current bank statements, security statements, and the like, showing actual deposit or cash equivalent evidence of their wherewithal. Now that's in the smaller private market. On a larger basis, I've had companies come in with letters from their bank saying, I have a 9-figure letter of credit for this amount, so 100 million plus, with a balance of 10 or 20 million, allowing me to see that they have lots of room to draw upon their line of credit. In other cases, I've had a public company on the buy side. You can often research their statements online or ask for something more current.
One of the things that buyers ask me is, so how do we prove we're financially capable? And what I tell them is upfront, first meeting with your NDA, show hard evidence of the money. And if your evidence is some investor group or your uncle who promises to pony up the money when you find the deal, that's not enough. And sellers of wonderful businesses, you're not going to be their first choice. And if the seller is represented by an intermediary, these intermediaries know that's not evidence. And these so-called accountant's letters, I think that's baloney. If I were an owner, I would not accept that. This was a good story because guess what? Right now, we have people all over the world running these classes, these webinars, seminars on how to buy business with no money. They're using these phony accountant letters, or they're using these what appear to be commitments from equity groups, and they're just made up. They're just made up. These are people who've never done a deal. So if you don't actually get to see the source of the money, good luck sellers. Not only can you spend a ton of money in advisory fees, but you can lose the opportunity to sell. I interviewed a business broker recently, and he said they lost the deal because they had it almost done last December. That'd be December 2019. Because it didn't get done because of dithering on the side of the seller, it rolled into the year 2020. And guess what? The pandemic hit and the business became unmarketable. How can people get in touch with you?
Well, they can certainly find me on LinkedIn. They just look up Paladin Capital Advisors, and more particularly my name, Calvin Hughes.
Hey, you. That's right, you. Have you been looking to buy an exciting and profitable business? Are you tired of searching, but only finding barriers that impede you from owning a wonderful business? Well, have we got some good news for you. You can find and buy the right business the right way. And you don't have to go it alone. For over 30 years, author and transaction advisor Ted Leverette, the original business buyer advocate, has been helping buyers worldwide achieve win-win done deals. Ted Leverette says, you can't buy it if you can't find it. You see, buying a business is all about search. Because if you can't find it, you can't buy it. It's about being best and first. First on the scene with sellers, and being the seller's first choice, and top of mind for brokers and sellers. And most importantly, avoiding buyer competition. What about having to compete with other buyers? Well, you have to outbid them, which is a good way to pay more than a business is worth. Searchers do better with a winning business buyer marketing plan, and that's where Ted Leverette comes in. He'll help you prepare a winning plan, and then he'll guide your actions so you can find and then buy the right business the right way. But searching is not enough. The reality is too many people buy the wrong business, or they buy the right business, but on the wrong terms. That's why, if you want to buy the right business the right way, it makes sense to have Ted Leverette, the original business buyer advocate, on your advisory team. And one of the best ways to know what the savviest searchers and buyers do is to read Ted Leverette's books. how to prepare yourself and find the right business to buy, and how to buy the right business the right way. You can get them at his website, partneroncall.com. Don't chance it. Right now, go to partneroncall.com, get the books, and schedule a free and private telephone conversation with Ted Leverette.